Hey guys, Dov here, back with another unit highlight, this time courtesy of Golden Eagle. We're taking a look at Blackheart Corsairs, and who better to lead them than Lokir Fellheart up on his dragon here. Front line, this is, some sad swords, fierce spears. We've got 4 Corsair Handbows, 1 melee Corsair, Blades of the Blood Queen as the elite choice in the back, 1 unit of Cold One Knights, and Dark Riders with shields. For the Warriors of Chaos, interesting build here. We've got Kolek Sun Eater, pretty strong just in general. Maybe a little bit overrated as he is a Shaggoth, but hey, that's okay. Marauders, Chaos Warriors, 2 with great weapons, 1 with halberds. Chaos Chariot, actually love this pick in this matchup. I'm going to probably do a video about the Chaos Chariot eventually. And also an Exalted Hero on horseback, caster of Lore of Death, but already you can see over on this side, Dark Riders, Corsairs in melee, and the Corsair Handbows just teaming up to absolutely demolish those Marauders there. Nice debuff here from the Chaos side, or sorry, from the Dark Elf side. The Withering actually debuffing the armor of these Chaos Warriors so that the Blackheart Corsairs trade a little bit more cost effectively into them. Very good synergy right there. Big old pitched engagement here. The interesting thing to note is that a few things. So the Corsair Handbows, obviously, they do pretty good armor-piercing damage as they are crossbows. They're not primary armor-piercing, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, probably fortunately for everyone else, but 3 AP per shot with 2 shots per volley means if both projectiles make contact, that's 6 AP, which is basically like a Orc Arrow Boy or two-handed crossbow for another faction. Very good. Kolek's definitely feeling that here. The mini Koleks as well, the Summoners of Rage, only have 60 armor, so they'll take a lot more damage from that. Kolek at 95 will take less, but he is a much bigger target, so those bolts will be making consistent contact. Meanwhile, if we take a look kind of at the rest of the battlefield here, Corsairs do have anti-infantry with the dual-hand weapon variant, and of course, you guys should know, Warhound units do count as infantry, right? They're small size, so Corsairs do get the bonus against them. They're going to overrun a little bit there, but Cold One Knight's getting a solid charge. You can see here the Summoners of Rage, even though they're fighting, they're not super efficient against these handbows. Like, their melee attack really actually isn't that high. 41 is good, but considering the cost, you would maybe expect it to be a little bit higher. And the handbows, 80 armor means they can shrug off attacks. 80 armor and 24 melee defense is not great, but 80 armor is definitely good. With that Murderous Prowess active, up to 40 melee attack, can definitely hold their own in melee better than a lot of other skirmishers. The 360 shooting is nice, but I really wish they had loose formation. Honestly, please, CA, if anyone's watching this, can we get loose formation for both melee and ranged Corsairs? Speaking of the melee Corsairs, where are they at? Coming back to the battle over here after chasing those hounds off. We are on Troll Country, so it's a relatively small map, easy to chase units off. Kolek standing and fighting. He's managed to push away some of the crossbows here, and I haven't been highlighting the Chariot much, but it has been rolling. Where is it at? Pretty efficiently. It might have got routed off already. Yeah, here it is, getting terrified by Malekith. We take a look, only 11 kills, but it's been doing some decent disruption. I say Malekith, Lokir. I'm used to saying Malekith because people barely ever take Lokir, even though he's decent. He's just kind of expensive for what he gives you. Kind of like Imrik, honestly. But yeah, as for the Handbows, you can see this beautiful concave that they get here. The Hounds coming from the other side. As I mentioned, the Hounds with their 18 charge, 26 attack, they will be able to get some hits on the Handbows. Not going to do as much damage because of the 80 armor. And of course, they can pull back. They're decently fast for Elven Infantry. 40 speed is definitely pretty solid. Maneuver away there and try and get some shots as they retreat. One problem you'll find is that they do have a hard time shooting units directly to the side of them because they don't have loose formation. Oftentimes the unit has some issues with targeting, but right now, balance of power actually looking slightly in Chaos's favor as they've got all these tools kind of running around. The Dark Elf forces are pretty well scattered, but Blades of the Blood Queen still being very healthy is pretty key. They're up to 169 kills. Talked about them already, of course. Best in class, great weapon. Obviously going to be pretty solid in this matchup. They're a staple for any type of build, and nice to see this Corsair build too. The meta in this matchup often revolves around either a debuff blob for the Dark Elves, or a Kite for the Dark Elves, and I would say this Chaos build was somewhat weak to Kite, but nice to see both players kind of going for a cool, different types of builds. Here, the balance power is very low because Lokir is so low, but Lokir is going to go ahead, pop his Dreaded Duelist. He uses that Breath Attack first, obviously. Now, going to be dropping down, trying to finish off Kolek. You see the Chaos Chariot coming back in the background again, getting some nice disruption and damage on those Blackheart Corsairs. The armor helps, though, as the Chaos Chariot is quote-unquote non-armor piercing, but oh man, I missed the main moment. Lokir actually fells Kolek and then immediately gets killed by this Exalted Hero right here. So the Lords basically just trade there. And Exalted Hero definitely steals Kolek's kill, but, you know, it's all good at the end of the day. It gets the kill. And balance power is still very close. The Corsairs do have a little bit of ammo left, and in a situation like this, these Chaos characters, I mean, both of them on horseback are actually 78 speed's pretty good. I was thinking they were closer to like 66, but I guess the Chaos characters are a little bit faster than the Knights. They're probably, yeah, anyway. But here, you can see the Corsairs, they're actually fast enough, considering they're less tired, because of the vigor differential there. That makes the Summoners of Rage a little bit slower. The Corsairs are just fast enough to kind of keep chasing and shooting, which is really nice. They can actually chase off that expensive unit there. You can see over here, Blades of the Blood Queen just moving in to finish off last of the Chaos forces. And even though the balance power is giving this caster the benefit of the doubt, up against Blades of the Blood Queen. And how about these melee Corsairs as well? We'll check in with them. Up to 54 kills. Just about got an XP chevron. Might get it from doing damage to this boy here. Maybe not. Regardless, though. Oh, no, those are not dual hand weapons. I was going to say. They're actual handbows. Here's the dual hand weapons. They're also still alive. 96 kills. Not quite as much of a chevron, but all around, I would say these Corsairs... I mean, obviously, Blades of the Blood Queen cleaning up a lot of kills is very key. The Corsairs providing a great supporting element in the monster fights, doing a ton of damage to Summoners of Rage, obviously, and Kolek, massive, and in the late game here, just providing that little bit of extra leadership damage, missile DPS. Here come the Dark Riders for a countercharge. The caster is running for his life, slowly but surely. Chaos characters are getting worn down. Big thanks to Golden Eagle for this one. Definitely a fun one. And Corsairs... I don't know. Yeah. Would you call them underrated? You don't see them super often, at least the Handbow variant. Some people like them in dedicated Kite builds. I think against certain factions it works okay because of the 40 speed, but I really would love for them to have loose formation. I think they would be much better in that role if they did have loose formation. Number one, they won't get as easily caught, and, you know, if they get, like, hit by a chariot or something, it's not going to impact as many models at the same time, you know, and also, just like I said, being able to shoot units on the side, and yeah, a lot of reasons. It just would be very beneficial for both melee and ranged Corsairs, honestly, to have loose formations. Most sort of dual hand weapon, quote-unquote DPS type units have loose formation, and not all. I guess maybe do Plague Monks not either? I'd have to check. Maybe it's just Rangers, but I really think that most units in that class should have that kind of loose formation. It definitely fits the aesthetic and the theme. But anyway, here, yeah, great supporting role. Lokir and Kolek just trading with each other. Absolutely beautiful. Summoner's Rage did manage to get 70 kills, you know, with the Chain Lightning and doing damage and everything like that. But the Handbow backline, sort of being able to draw them into a missile box and being able to fire while moving in all directions is a big part of that. Not the biggest fan of the Chaos Halberds, honestly. Their attack speed is probably one of the slowest in the game in terms of animations. And I think Great Weapons are more often than not the better choice simply because of that. I actually think Chaos Great Weapons is probably one of the best, if not the best, mid-tier Great Weapon. Maybe I'll do a video about them eventually as well. But yeah, I like the pick of the Chaos Chariots. I might have actually taken one or two more, honestly. Like, if you were to trade this Halberd down and maybe get some poison on these Warhounds, you're also a little bit vulnerable without any Marauder Horsemen. And just for me personally, I I think Kolek can be a little bit risky here if your opponent goes for a dedicated missile kite. Big Bird is also, I mean, he's going to take less damage, and his sort of hitbox and animations means you can try and dodge a lot of shots as well. And also you bring your caster and Lord in one, so you could save a little bit of points there. Maybe use the extra points to buy a couple Marauder Horsemen or something like that. I don't know. But definitely fun builds from both sides, just to kind of finish out Handbows. They are the only... Let's see. They're the only 360 shooting infantry that don't have loose formation, I'm pretty sure. Just to kind of harp on this a little bit further. 750 points, only 70 range, and their stats are pretty decent. You also have to consider Murderous Prowess is going to be active for a solid minute and a half during the battle. Something to take into consideration, certainly when you're looking at these stats. But yeah, overall, kind of a nice hybrid missile melee unit, which I'm a big fan of that type. The cost, 750, means they do have to get some work done to actually pay for themselves, but it's not, in certain matchups at least, it's not too hard, and especially with the synergy of that armor debuff of Wither. I really would like for Dark Elves to have Lore of Metal. That would actually, I mean, you wouldn't think because they have a lot of armor-piercing damage, actually. But for very specific use cases, like Handbows, it would be really nice, actually, to have Lore of Metal. But anyway, getting off topic, actually, for both Corsair Handbows and for melee Corsairs, it would be quite nice to have Plague of Rust. And Searing Doom also, just the rest of the lore is pretty good. So, moving on from Lore of Metal, Handbows, I don't really honestly know a great comparison. We could compare them to Pistoliers, I guess. They're another double-shot 360 shooting unit, even though obviously Pistoliers are cavalry. They have a little bit higher DPS, but lower model count, so, ends up meaning that Corsairs probably have higher DPS. They have a little bit shorter range as well, and the short range is one of the biggest drawbacks of using these guys if you compare them to other 360 shooting infantry. Like, I guess we could go for Lizardmen real quick and just take a look. Chameleon Skinks have featured already, and even Skink Skirmishers too, but Chameleons being relatively close in terms of cost, I guess it's an okay comparison. Yeah, they're obviously less well-armored, and they have way less HP. Wow, Chameleon Skinks actually have really low HP. I never realized. Less leadership, a little faster, and the poison means they're almost uncatchable for certain units. The poison also helps them in melee as well. So does that make up for the armor and lack of HP? I don't really think so. Corsairs definitely show their cost there, but the ammunition, and again, plus 10 range for the Chameleon Skinks, the extra ammo is pretty big. In terms of total damage output, I'd have to math it out, but I think the Corsairs technically still have a higher damage potential because of their double shot. If you hit with the double shots, which is not super reliable. Obviously, Chameleons also have stock and missile resistance, which helps them trade in missile fights. So it's not, again, it's not the best comparison. And this is sort of one of the weird things about Handbows is there's not really a great direct comparison unit. The Wood Elf 360 shooting units obviously are much longer range and have much better ranged stopping power. 700 points. I guess Deepwood Scout's pretty close in terms of cost. Yeah, literally 110 range difference. Like you could fit an entire Goblin Archer's range in between these two. So there's that. They also have more ammo, and the missile damage is the same, even though less AP. 2 less AP, again, if you add the 2-shot together from the Handbows. And a little bit lower melee stats, lower armor, as you would expect. They're not quite the same hybrid utility, but you'll notice out of all the units I've compared to so far, Handbows have the most models, and they have the most HP. Plus the armor makes them decently tanky. I don't want you to go away thinking they're like Bugman's Rangers or anything, but they're decently tanky. All things considered, especially against some of the lower tier fast attack units like Hounds. If your opponent has only light cavalry, like Greenskins, if they, like, I don't know, Corsairs actually might be decent in this matchup because they're faster than pretty much all Greenskins infantry. They can get poisoned into being the same speed as them, but they'll deal well with the light cavalry of the Greenskins as well. I mean, like, Spider Riders, Wolf Riders don't really have the stats to fight Handbows in melee. Maybe the Spider Riders with the poison would do a little better, but it's an interesting one. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you use Handbows for? What are matchups you like to use them in? You like playing low-key or campaign and just spamming Corsairs there? Let me know. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about the anti-infantry variant right now because this video has already been pretty long, but we'll probably touch on this another day. They're pretty solid, enough to say, and also need loose formation. Anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.